Hey everybody, Twisted Smiles here. Welcome back to another episode of No Budget Reviews, where this episode the budget has been raised just a little bit, just ever so slightly, because I have a piece of hardware I'm going to showcase here in a minute. But just want to start off by saying that I've actually always been a diehard Xbox fan ever since Halo came out. Yes, I am a diehard Halo fan. Excuse me, but it just always seemed to me like Microsoft and Xbox always had the better licensed games, like Halo, Gears of War, a bunch of other stuff, even though Gears of War is kind of falling off the fucking shit train here lately. But I actually did acquire a PlayStation 4 last year because after E3 we've got a lot of good titles coming out for the PlayStation, like God of War. I actually picked up Horizon Zero Dawn, which is an amazing game. It's really beautiful. It's for the while there, it was like the centerpiece for Sony's licensed games, and I gotta say it's really good. If you haven't tried it, go ahead and give it a shot. But basically, what caught my eye was this little beauty right here, the PlayStation VR, which stands for virtual reality. And I have to say, this has got to be one of the coolest devices ever created. I was always interested in it ever since the Oculus Rift came out. But anybody who knows anything about the Oculus, when it first came out, it was just the development kit, and it was ranging anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000, which is not okay. And plus, I don't really have a PC that's up to par to be able to handle that kind of stuff. So I've got a little Acer laptop. Again, no budget. But anyway, I actually acquired one of these for Christmas last year, and I've got to say it is some of the most fun I've ever had. I thought I'd showcase some of its pros and cons. I won't be able to showcase any content because, again, no budget. I don't really have that kind of hardware. But basically, the virtual reality headset for the PlayStation is a modestly priced device, if you ask me. It's ranging right now $399. I saw an ad for it at GameStop just the other day but even before I got mine around the holiday season, it was ranging anywhere on Amazon from $800 to $1,500 just for the headset with all the wires that you need to hook it up. But it didn't come with like the motion wands that you need for some games, like Batman VR, where you need to move your hands individually to solve puzzles or something like that. But basically how it works, take your hat off or turn it backwards to a certain weird way to put it. But anyway, just there's a button on the back right here. You push it in, and it lets it extend out. And then there's also a wind up knob right here to tighten it, kind of like a construction helmet. And then on the bottom here has another little button right there that you push in to slide the lens in and out, depending on how you need it to feel comfortable on your head. But it's not as heavy as it looks, to be honest. You sit there, and then you might need to get a bigger headset for your surround sound, because this thing actually takes up quite a bit of space. But you tighten it, just get it in and out, depending on how, like, say you wear glasses, which is one of the positive things about this, is that you can actually wear glasses with it, and you pretty much have to, because it actually treats this like you're actually looking around in real depth, because like I tried playing a game in a house, and I tried playing it without my glasses, and I could see things close up, but not far away. So, put on my glasses, and it actually fit fairly well. It wasn't too uncomfortable. I could play it for a while, but I've actually noticed a lot of people can't play this for too long. They either get motion sickness, depending on the game, or it just hurts their eyes way too bad because they can't seem to focus on it or adjust properly. But the pros for this are the immersion. There is no question about it. This is one of the most immersive devices I've ever experienced in my entire life. You just feel like you are there. One of the best games, I would have to say, that expresses this best of all would be Resident Evil 7, which if you're not a fan of horror or gore or scares, then you might want to stay away from this. But if you ask me, the PlayStation VR is the future of horror games. The future of horror itself, I mean, because all we have anymore is just jump scare after jump scare with shitty music that's just a good indicator of, oh, something's going to happen. But no, it doesn't matter, because this helps you feel like you are really there, almost. I mean, it just depends. You have to have a decent amount of space to be able to use it, depending on what you're using or playing. Like if you're playing a game like Resident Evil 7, where luckily all you need is for the headset to be able to show up on the sensor of the camera. But if you have, say, motion sensor wands that you need to use to stretch out and grab things, notice how my hand is leaving the shot. Same concept of the camera for the PlayStation 4. If your hand and motion sensor leaves out of the sensor zone, you'll just be looking at the game, and all of a sudden your hand in the game will just go derpy and just go everywhere. It's actually kind of humorous. But especially when you're playing a little game called Surgeon Simulator VR. Oh man, that is a hilarious game. Not every day you get to just pull a rag off of a body, see it all cut open right there. Got to get the heart out, you take a hammer. But yes, pros are very immersive, lightweight, and very comfortable. It has a very nice padding on the inside, although there are tips I would like to give. Because again, this may not be the highest level of VR headsets that you can get, but it is still very expensive. So a little tip to help you make it last a little bit longer. One of the things that I've noticed a lot of people doing with mine, and they don't seem to grasp the concept, is that when you take the headset off, you slide the lens out away from your face, and don't grab this to take it off. Do not grab this. Grab it up here, here, and slide it off. The last thing you want to do, this thing is not on there like really secure. I mean, you could feel it kind of shaking around. The last thing you want to do is go to take it off and boom, break a fucking $400 piece of machinery just taking it off. You're going to get pissed and you're not going to be able to get it fixed. So that being said, be careful how you put this on your head and take it off. Again, it is a very expensive piece of machinery, and I don't see the price going down too much anytime soon. Now, some of the flaws. One of the things that you have to keep in mind when you buy this is that it is not easy to set up and take down. I mean, it is, but it's time consuming. There are about 15 different wires you have to go through and hook up before you can actually get this thing rolling. And it can be kind of a pain in the ass. I mean, especially when you have a lot of friends like I do that just want to try it, because I'm actually the only person that I know right now that has this, at least the PlayStation version. I don't know if anybody else might have the Oculus or the Vive, but it's kind of a pain to, pack up and haul around, because it comes with a nice box that you can carry all of your hardware in, except for the headset. You'll need the box mostly for the cords, but you got the headset right here. You got the huge box that carries all the cords, and another little box that hooks it up to the PlayStation. You need 2 HDMI cables. It's ridiculous just for the VR. And then you also have the fact that, you have to take it down and put it back up at a friend's house, and take it down, take it back home, hook it back up. It takes about 5-10 minutes just to set this up. And I don't know, it just seems a little much. Hopefully, I'm hoping in the future, which I know it will. I mean, hell, we'll probably go from this huge honking thing on your freaking face to like a pair of Oakleys that, just perfectly project, and then eventually all the way up to contact lenses, even if you can stand that. I don't do contacts. But another thing is, again, the motion of the games, depending on which games you play, and the strain it puts on your eyes. Now, me, luckily, I have not experienced that. I have experienced it with one game, but it was just a mini game on the demo disc that comes with the headset if you bought the bundle pack, which comes with the headset, 2 motion wands, and a video game of completed games, about 5 or 6 maybe. But they're very small games. Like, they're not very long or extensive at all. But there was I believe it's Space Odyssey or something like that, and it actually hurt my eyes a little bit moving around in it. The movement wasn't that fluid though in that game. And another thing that a lot of people have brought up, and I have noticed because I've watched some reviews, and one of the things is that, like, people have described it, and it's the best way I've heard to describe the vision in this. You have to understand the definition of the graphics is not going to be up to the same par as the system on your TV. Say if you have a 4K TV like I do, where it looks amazingly beautiful no matter what you play, but everybody else can see what you're playing. They can see you looking around, see what you're seeing and how you're seeing it, but they see a much clearer picture than what you will. And a lot of gamers have described it as looking through a screen door. And that is probably the best depiction of how the vision in this headset works. I mean, everything is, visible. You can tell what things are. It's not completely fucked. But it does give you the sense like you're looking outside through a screen door, and everything's got a little bit of a blur to it. But other than that, that's probably what causes the strain on people's eyes, as well as the fact that you will constantly be seeing a black bar around, kind of like you're wearing goggles with no, you can't see out that way, out the sides. But it's still not enough to take away the immersion. I mean, there's times when you play the games and you feel like you're there, especially with Resident Evil. I cannot stress enough that Resident Evil 7 Biohazard is the best VR game out right now. That game is amazing. It will make you jump. It will make you scream. It will make you take it off to take a break because your nerves just can't take it. I mean, I honestly love that kind of stuff, and a lot of people say that they can't even wear the headset for too long, but I found myself wearing this headset for 3 hours straight playing Resident Evil 7 because I just couldn't put it down. And honestly, since the adaptation from console to VR, I honestly don't think I can play the original play the game in its original version. Like, I cannot play it without VR. There's just no point, and it's completely not as good. I've even heard reviewers say that Resident Evil 7 receives an 8 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10 if you have the VR. So, I mean, this thing is amazing. I cannot stress enough. Pick it up if you get a chance. You will not regret it. More games are coming out. Some are hit and miss, of course. But, as time goes on, we will advance. And, of course, technology and the way we can play games. And, like I said, this thing was basically made for horror games, in my opinion. I was actually a little disappointed when I found out that Outlast 2 was not VR compatible when it came out, but there is a silver lining. They said that it may be out later on after release. Fingers crossed, because I've beaten the game. It's terrifying. A lot of people don't like it right now because they call it a chase simulator, because unlike the first game where your main goal is to hide and stay alive, this one you spend a lot of time running. But I think it works out pretty well because the first game you're locked inside an insane asylum with not much room to go or run and plenty of places to hide. Outlast 2 is a much more open, immersive world where you have a lot more options and open, free roam play. Yes, there are a lot of sequences in the game where you have to run because you're being chased, and it gives you a set path, and if you mess up, boom, it's basically a trial and error until you memorize it. And yes, that can get a little old, but the story is a lot better than the first one, and just for me, with the environment given, it makes sense to be able to do a lot of running and have to. So that's why it doesn't really bother me that much. But I was really hoping it would get VR, and it still might. So let's hope that comes out. But there's just a lot of games that I've been looking forward to. And I actually just read a few minutes ago, Microsoft has confirmed, because the Xbox does not have a VR headset yet. But I just read a little bit ago, they have confirmed VR is coming to the Xbox Scorpio next year, Project Scorpio. And but they said it was going to be a little bit different. It's not going to follow the same trend as the VR headset or the Vive or the Oculus, but more incorporate this in with its HoloLens to try to create a new experience. So I'm not exactly sure how that's going to end up and turn out, but if you've seen the HoloLens at the demo that they did, the HoloLens is basically a set of glasses that you wear, and it can project almost like a live action adaptation of what you're playing onto a flat surface, say your table or wall, basically turning your wall into a TV screen. I actually haven't seen the HoloLens yet anywhere. I haven't really looked into it though, or heard anything since I've heard that announcement during the demo that they showed. But I'm really looking forward to trying it. And I'm damn well going to, but I don't know. With all the specs that they've talked about with the Project Scorpio Xbox, all the hardware they put into it, it's estimated to range anywhere from $700 to $800, just because most of the hardware that they've put into the system is hardware that you could put into a computer, and if you were to go out and buy each individual one for your PC, it'd cost you anywhere from like $2,000 to $3,000 is what I read. But of course, being in a home console, that's absolutely absurd. So they're estimating about $700 to $800. Still pricey, but you can't deny it's better than $2,000. But I have to say, if I was to rate this device on a 10 scale rating, I would give it an 8 out of 10, because yes, it's still brand new and it's going to keep advancing, but it's just, the fact that it's really bulky, the definition isn't that great for the graphics, the resolution, sorry. And but along with the size of the headset, it's not too heavy. Like I said, I played Resident Evil 7 for 3 hours straight without having to take it off to adjust my eyes or, feel comfortable or anything. But this is a wonderful little machine right here, and I highly recommend it to anyone that can pick it up and give it a shot. Even if you know somebody that has one, go ahead and try it. You will not be disappointed. And I just hope and pray that you've got the stomach and the eyes to handle it. Thanks again, guys, for coming. This has been No Budget Reviews. I'm, again, your host, Twisted Smiles. You guys have a great day. Mine is pretty shitty, so have a good one.